conversation later.
You are also aware that these are all done in our research development, and it takes a while to develop all these technologies. India is also doing such type of thing in aeronautics, and therefore you can't say confidence or it's not very costs. Costs are not very much. It's a futuristic technology which is meant to complement your conservation efforts. Its conservation is there.
Not Kenya Wildlife Conservancy. Anyone who has ever met Don and Iris falls immediately in love with them, and so we all did. So it was just one happy family. We were all in love with each other and in love with what we were doing and the place where we were. We had many, many years of wonderful times together, and so when Bill died in 1981, Don and Iris and I decided to try and do a living memorials bill, and by so doing build that we had to start preserving our wild species by creating captive breeding herds and ongoing conservation efforts for flora and fauna was not in people's minds. And that wasn't an ancient history. That was only yesterday. As Roger said so well, everybody was sort of making it up at the time, and so were they. But it was even then, it was completely clear to everybody that wildlife conservation was the band-aid for the greater issue. And the greater issue that supports wildlife conservation is education. It's the missing link in everything we've been discussing so far. So let's get on with it.
Park, protecting wildlife from the flood of Kenya's high birthland. With new mouths to feed, the animals are made as sacrifice for cropland. Bill had a vision that some of the species might be saved by translocation to other habitats.
The people that were against the translocation of the berries, for a while we thought they may have been right. But a couple of weeks ago we got tremendous news from Billy Whitley, the game warden down. Willow's idea is that we build a wildlife education center on the ranch for a local school program. The children that live in the bush don't have a place to go to see wildlife.
We 10 to 11,000 students a year. We also have adult seminars that come on an annual basis. Most recently, we've been doing some seminars on a little pet project of mine, which is entitled Can and Does Wildlife Conservation Make Good Business Sense? We can discuss that at great length, because the theory is if it doesn't, perhaps it won't happen. How do I work this? We're over 600 students in this primary and secondary school combined, with about 14 teachers. They'd never seen a horse, and so they were very excited, and rather than have them throw stones at my horse or something, I started passing over us. But the more I became associated with riding up and seeing this village, the more we began to discuss that perhaps we were missing the point. We built a beautiful education center, but here we're in the village to offer them alternatives and bring their level of education up so they might be able to comprehend the entire idea and scope of the environment, biodiversity, and ecology. So I'm not a professional in the world of wildlife conservation. I'm a passionate supporter of the world of wildlife conservation and preservation. I make my living acting in films, television, and on the stage, which I have done since I was 15 years of age. Like many of my colleagues in the United States and the UK, I donate my time to the cause that I am passionate about. The William Woodland Wildlife Foundation, as I suggested, is a 501c3 public charity in the United States, and as that, in that category, I'm able to go on and ask people. They give me money as a sacred trust, believing that I'm going to use it for what I say we do. Therefore, in order for me to be able to look into the faces of all the people who I ask for money from, I made a decision a long time ago that I would not act, that we would not act in the way that most 501c3 public charities do. I dedicated most of my energies to raising sufficient money through my work, personally, to be able to cover the costs of the operations in the United States. Everything, from the last postage stamp, to the insurance, to the telephones, to the secretary, to the office, to everything. So when I look in the face of us, it was exactly where they think it's going, to our work in Africa. I wish there were more organizations like this, but there aren't. And I'm not saying this to give applause. I'm saying this to emphasize that passion is just as viable as professionality. It's a passion that has made many things happen around the world. And you don't necessarily have to be a professional to have that. But it helps, but not necessarily. So therefore,